Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another SHOUTCraft Clan War right here on MLG TV. My name is TotalBiscuit, and today it is my pleasure to introduce, once again, a fantastic matchup. Today we've got Team Liquid versus mYinsanity. Of course, best of 7 Pro League format for $500 prize, $500 on the line for every single event we do, and we do like 10 a month, except this month, when things got in the way. But we're supposed to be doing 10 a month. We're getting that way. So we're giving out $5,000 in prize money every single month here for these teams. So I gotta say, mYinsanity is becoming the Swiss bank of SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. They've won 3 in a row. That's $1,500 they've run away with for a couple of hours of their time, which is not a bad little setup that they've got going there. It's a bit of a racket with mYinsanity. Can Team Liquid stop this train? I guess we're about to find out, aren't we? Let's have a look at the lineup. And let's see what's going on here. To start with, good God, that is a rough set of opening matches for Team Liquid. We have a look at that and we see that immediately, right out of the gate, mYinsanity drops a freaking J-bomb in the form of Jakchi. Right out of there. That is a really strong opener. And for the most part, mYe tends to try and hold back their big star players until later on. This time around, they front-loaded them. Jakchi gets Bunny, and then Snoot gets Stardust on Keru. Oh, man. Keru's I don't know which way that's going to go. I mean, we've seen Protoss do pretty well on Keru, but I don't think it's Protoss' favorite map per se, so I think Snoot should probably be able to do okay there. But Bunny versus Jakchi will definitely be a very difficult TBT. And then we have some of the foreigners coming out for both sides. We've got a double ZVZ. We've got Wrecking Ball, Rhett versus Zervas, and then TLO versus Serral. TLO's on fire of late, and I'd say that his ZVZ is very strong, so Serral will have his work cut out for him, but Serral doesn't mess around either in ZVZ, so that could be tough. It's entirely possible that mYe takes a clean sweep 4-0 before they even get to the 2v2, but it's entirely feasible that Team Liquid could take any of those matches. I'd say that Bunny versus Jakchi is definitely going to be the hardest one for Team Liquid, but Snoot, Rhett, and TLO all have a really good shot of taking those matches, and then of course we get into the 2v2, which is going to be this is again wrong, by the way. For those of you who keep looking at it, I need to tell my designer to stop looking at Team Liquid. Neuroxus usually plays Zerg, but in 2v2 he actually plays Terran. So it will be a TVZ versus a TVZ. Bunny and Snoot versus Kane and Neuroxus. And then Mana versus Balloon on Neo Polaris. This is kind of Balloon's map. It's Mana's map as well. I believe he's played that too. So they're both pretty comfortable in New Polaris. And there will be an ace match if necessary on Fallen Dreams, which could be anything. Conspicuous by their absence, when it comes to Team Liquid, of course, is their lineup of Koreans. We're missing both Hero and Tasia, and they're relying entirely on their admittedly much stronger now foreigner lineup to actually carry them against mYe, which is... that's a dodgy proposition, I'm gonna be honest. mYinsanity's roster is actually ridiculous. Really, really good. And you might think, oh, well, all mYe is Jakchi, Stardust, and backing band. Well, no. Not really, and that has been demonstrated time and again by their performance in the Clan Wars. mYe has been absolutely ripping it up. I mean, for one, they absolutely crushed IVD in their first starter, and they did it with almost all foreigners. Right? They sent out Serral, who killed Fog. They lost against Arium on New Polaris, and then they won the Starbow match. Stardust took out Puck on Keru, and then Dana, who I believe is actually now retired? Actually, he's moved to Vega Squadron now. He was a former mYe, took out Apocalypse, who are, as far as I'm concerned, that's IVD's ace player. And it kind of kept going along that way. mYinsanity have been doing really, really well up to this point. I mean, they took out Clan Who very convincingly. They used Serral, Kane, and then double Jakchi to finish things off. They've got roster depth, and of course, they recently beat Axiom as well, and they did so very well by using Serral, Balloon, Jakchi, and Stardust. Now that they have Balloon, they have a really strong kind of Pro League format lineup. So, without further ado, shall we begin? Sounds like a good idea. The first match, right here, is going to be on Neo Jungle Valley, and it's going to be a TBT between Bunny and Jakchi. Tough call on this one. I'd say Jakchi has the edge, though. I think that Bunny might struggle. It's not going to be a complete whitewash, but Jakchi's TBT is really good. Bunny, I think, is yet to prove himself up to this point. For Liquid, he hasn't really got the results that perhaps people were expecting, but to be fair, Bunny is kind of the new guy. He's definitely not that experienced in comparison to someone like Mana or veterans on the team like TLO or Rhett. So, we will see how this goes. Will he be able to take down Jakchi? It would be an incredible start for Team Liquid if they were able to take out that strong player early on. If it does get the ace match, it's likely Jakchi will come back, which can actually be a real threat for that team. So if Team Liquid can take out mYe before the ace match, that's kind of the dream scenario for them. But they still have to face off against people like Serral and Stardust and Balloon, which is tough in and of itself. All right. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us begin right here on Neo Jungle Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. To the southeast position in the red trunks playing Terran, he is Liquid Bunny. Versus his opponent to the northeast position. In the blue trunks, also playing Terran, mYinsanity Jakchi. Okay. Neo Jungle Valley. Interesting one. We have seen one game TVT played on this one before. Jakchi actually played it against Igers. And Jakchi almost lost, honestly. So, I don't know. TVT on this map looked a little bit shaky. It's a bit of a weird map for TVT. Both players will probably open Reaper. Although, there's a crazy kind of metagame thing that you can do here, which Jakchi demonstrated, which is... Ooh, hello. Bunny's actually going gas first, so we're more likely going to see Cloak Banshee out of him, but... Could be something like a Hellion drop, but we'll see. And actually, Jakchi going barracks. Will he go gas? Because what we saw from Jakchi was a weird metagamey build. It was actually against Crank, and it worked incredibly well for this map, which was, instead of building a Reaper, he went barracks straight into Reactor immediately. It looked like the standard 12-12, but he put down the Reactor and then went full Reaper into attack, which was very unexpected. This map is unusual because it's a semi-island. All these areas, pretty normal, pretty normal, pretty normal. Oh, what's that? Rocks. And these rocks block off absolutely everything. You cannot access any other area of the map. You're basically stuck on your own side. And this is a 4-spawn map, so you could be across here, you could be across here. The play that Bunny is going for here, which I do actually feel is going to be Cloaked Banshee, although it could be something else, would be very good considering the current positions. Although there isn't a lot of airspace on this map. So you can kind of get behind here, but if you come in from the side, this area is very risky. And Jakchi looks like he might go for the same build. A 4-Reaper build against a Terran could work very, very well here. Especially if Bunny is going straight into Factory, which has got to be. I mean, with that amount of gas, there's nothing else he could be doing. Straight into Factory, so it's more than likely going to be Banshee here. Now, here's the question, I suppose. Reaper's going to come up from Bunny. Now, if it's double Reaper, which it almost certainly is from Jakchi here, and a second barracks being added on as well before his expansion, this is a really interesting build. If it's double Reaper, which it almost has to be, there it is, then a single Reaper dies to that. And at that point, you completely cede map control, and you can potentially lose a huge amount of stuff in your base. Very, very damaging. It's good that Bunny's getting a unit out. I mean, Crank yesterday skipped units up to the point of getting a Stalker really late and a Mothership Core, and the Reapers just gutted his mineral line. It was brutal. In this case, we're going to see probably a Starport coming down here from Bunny. There we go. This should get scouted. But it could go in the wrong direction, of course. We've got Bunny scouting right now with his Reaper. He's heading over in this direction. Wow, look at that. If you actually look at that Reaper, it's got tiny little stars on it. That's just wonderful. Little logos on the side there. Absolutely lovely on those units. We're going to see... Huh, interesting. Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah, Jakchi has a second barracks down. I was going to say, hang on a minute. Is he not building 4 Reapers? He is. But he's building a Marine out of here as well. This is really cool because I think these Marines are designed to defend against the Reaper that's going to come. And he is going to be thinking to himself, well, maybe there's a Starport coming in here. That's a possibility. And if that happens, then I've got to at least get some Marines out. Okay, Reapers are on the way. It's going to be a 5 Reaper build. Nope, 4 Reaper build from Jakchi. It looked like 5. 4 Reaper build. There's the Cloak Banshee going up. There's Marines ready, but this is going to catch Bunny completely off guard. And this is the second time that Jakchi's been able to execute this build on this map to excellent effect. 3 Marines are not going to deal with 3 Reapers, especially not with 4. And wow, Bunny's in a lot of trouble. Not only does this get scouted, but Jakchi is going to be able to out-micro and absolutely destroy Bunny's defenses, and it is now going to go right into the middle line. I mean, this could be GG immediately here. If he gets a Banshee out, he should be able to shut this down, but the amount of damage he's going to take in the process is going to be pretty brutal. The Reaper for Bunny is on. It's actually on its way back here, but look at the amount of SCVs that have been destroyed here. Jakchi's 4 Reaper build is very reminiscent of the stuff that we saw really early on in Wings of Liberty with that 5 Rex Reaper stuff. Finally, those Reapers go down, but wow, Bunny got absolutely destroyed in terms of his economy. Maybe one more Reaper goes down. Oh, a shot goes off, it doesn't hit it, and Jakchi actually gets away with 2 Reapers. 15 workers killed. Look at how brutal that build is on this map if you're not ready for it. You can't use the traditional Reaper opening here. I'm convinced of it now. Not after this. Jackchi's shown this build works really well twice on this map, and it destroys you. However, what about the counterattack? What about that counterattack? The engineering bay is really late from Jackchi, which is surprising because he scouted this very early. The Cloak Banshee is on its way. There's definitely some defense. The question is where? It's here. I think that Jackchi's going to go for a scan and try and catch it out. Buddy, taking so much damage. He doesn't have scan energy, though. Not for another 10 seconds. So some damage is going to be done. Buddy's going to try and claw himself back into this game. Can he make that happen? Jackchi trying to position his Marines in such a way that they'll be able to catch him out. And if he does not kill it, then that Banshee is going to wreak havoc. Raven's on the way up for Jackchi right here. Jackchi's still very much ahead, but Bunny is trying to claw his way back into this game. There's the scan. Not effective. Drives the Banshee back at least for a while anyway, but the scan energy has been used. And bear in mind, Jackchi's still on one base here, so... God, this is so reminiscent of early GSL, like one base versus one base Terran. It's insane to watch. Bunny's Banshee control looking pretty good right now. And Jackchi's slipping just a little bit here. Good control, good control. He can keep working on those Marines. He just needs to realize that. Another Banshee is coming out. And slowly but surely, Bunny is edging his way back in. But now the Raven's out. And that's where Bunny loses a Banshee. And probably all the others as well. Okay, what does Bunny do from here? Well, Bunny's going to try and expand out of this. And this is okay, because Jackchi actually lost a lot of units, yeah? Which is weird to say. It's like, well, why does that matter? Surely workers matter. Not really. What he wants to do from here, since he has no drop capabilities, he wants to bash down the rocks and then attack Bunny. But Bunny has a lot of time before that happens. Because the Marine count has been reduced, and there's no stim, these Marines are going to take a while to actually work their way through the rocks. And as a direct result, Bunny actually has time. If he's able to get an expansion out, then it is possible, it is perfectly possible that Bunny might get himself back into this game. It's a weird situation, I know, but it's feasible. It can happen. Now, that Raven is out of detection range. Now it sees it, but... Is it going to catch that Banshee? No, the Banshee will be able to run away. Oh, not if it does that, it won't. Oh, that was a mistake. I'm not sure what was going on there. He sacrificed that Banshee for no reason. But he does see that Jackchi is moving in for an attack, and Bunny has to prepare for that. A Raven is on the way out for Bunny, but he's got no units on the ground. I mean, he's 10 workers behind still. He's trying to expand, but Jackchi's already made his way through the first set of rocks and is now working towards the second. So this could be... this could still be a loss here for Bunny. He's been doing okay getting back into this game, but he doesn't have any tanks. He has barely any units on the ground. These rocks are going to go down within the next minute. This attack is going to hit, and Bunny, outside of the world's luckiest Seeker missile, which he might not even have by the time that comes in, is not going to get much out of this. And he's microing this Reaper just desperately to try and do a little bit more economic damage to his opponent, but now he has to pull back and defend. And he has a tank. He's working on another. The second tank won't be done by the time Jackchi's army hits, and I think Jackchi still has this one on the bag, honestly. Bunny will have to pull a miracle defense in order to make this work. If he can somehow hold this off, then maybe he gets back into this game, but I don't see it happening. Jackchi's landing the Vikings. Auto turret goes down, is immediately destroyed. Bunny trying to hold the high ground here. Jackchi does not have stim, but it doesn't matter. There's not enough units to hold this, and Jackchi has broken the front here. An expansion from Bunny is perhaps not going to work right now. Bunny will try and hold the high ground, but with what? He doesn't have anything. One more tank sieges up, and it's in a pretty good position. So maybe he kills this. He's getting around the side, though. Can he fix the tank? Ah, it goes down to the tank at the back. Oh, if he'd held onto that tank, maybe, just maybe, he would have held this, but it's not looking likely at the moment. 37 Spite, 69, there's the GG, and mYe start off strong yet again with a big win here on Neo Jungle Valley. That build is vicious. Absolutely vicious, and Jackchi has perfected it specifically for that map. I mean, does it work on any other map? Not really, because it's much easier to scout. This is a map that is very focused on those cliffs and very focused on the rocks. Generally, you will see players get greedy on this map because they think they're safe, and now players are coming up with builds where they can exploit that false sense of security. Really powerful start. Really powerful start. Alright, folks, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to rack up our next game. Don't go anywhere. mYe leads 1-0 in this Best of 7 Pro League Series. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. Here is our next game in this Best of 7 Clan Wars series. It's going to be Snoop versus Stardust, and it's going to be on Neo Keru. Alright. I'm intrigued. Let's see. I think this should be a little more even, honestly, than Bunny Jack-G. I think Bunny could have fought Jack-G, absolutely. I think he could have thrown punches with the best of them in TVT, but not when you get gutted by that really vicious Jack-G build on that map. So, I think Snoot's got a better shot against Stardust, certainly, but we'll have to see what Stardust can pull out of his hat, because he's known as Cheese Dust for a reason. He has 1,000,001 different cheeses. Like, he has a smorgasbord of all sorts of wonderful and horrible Protoss builds. I mean, if anything, Stardust is to blame for everybody hating Protoss. So, you know. Let's see. We will see. Okay, we're about ready to rock and roll, folks. Next map will be Neo Keru. Currently, MYE leads 1-0. And I think Snoot's going to pick this one up, honestly, because, I don't know, the rest of them are kind of up in the air. And like I said before, I do think Liquid has to win before the ace, because Jack-G coming out as an ace is a pretty powerful ace indeed. We're ready to rock and roll, folks. Here we go. Just to let you know, by the way, we're going to be doing a... Oh, hang on. We're going to have to reset up the match by the looks of it. Apparently, Snoot wasn't quite ready. So just give me a moment. My apologies for that. As I was saying, we're going to have to swap a match around because someone's going to be late home. So the 2v2 is actually going to be moved to 6th place on the roster instead of 5th. So that's going to be changed there. Outside of that, there'll be no other changes to the lineup today. Both the MYE and the Team Liquid management did agree to that, so that's totally fine. Snoot, I hate you. God, Snoot's like saying, wait, 8 minutes. I'm like, what? And then I stopped the countdown and left the lobby. And it's like, no, we were just joking. Like, pah! Okay. Jesus. Okay, let's rock and roll. Stardust versus Snoot. Let's see if Snoot decides to bring out Swarm Hosts. I mean, he has been known to do that. Pretty effective. Hopefully he won't have to, but they were joking in the lobby saying, well, either this game's going to be 8 minutes or 2 hours. So we will see. I don't know if this is a great Swarm Host map. I think it could be. We've never actually seen Swarm Hosts used on it, so it's possible that it might be. I guess we'll find out, won't we? All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Neo Keru. It is my pleasure in the southwest position in the Blue Trunks playing Zerg to bring you Team Liquid Snoot, who is looking to even the series up against mYinsanity, who send out their Protoss representative in the northeast position in the styling hot pink trunks. It is Stardust. They were arguing in the lobby, and Stardust was saying, no Swarm Host, and Snoot was saying, okay, but no Colossus. And Stardust just said, yeah, no Colossus is fine by me. I have a feeling neither of them will do that. Stardust looking for the more traditional opening, actually. Pretty much about as traditional as it gets. It could be still a gateway opening, but this looks to me like a Forge Fast Expand at the front there. It could just be cannons, though. No, it still could be cannons, actually, come to think of it. But it seems unlikely. Let's see when the Forge comes down. When are we going to get that Forge? Well, not yet. So it looks like a more traditional Forge timing, so we're unlikely to see a cannon rush here out of Stardust. This map actually used to have this really nasty position where you could do I believe, a 2-pylon cannon wall-off, which would allow you to do huge damage to a Zerg player. That, I think, has been fixed. This is now the Neo Keru version, which doesn't allow it to happen. So Stardust is going to go for the 14 Forge at the front here, I think. Either that will be the latest gateway in history. And he'll look to expand behind that. Snoot, on the other hand, has gone for 14 pull. So, nothing out of the ordinary for either player. Very traditional opening here from Stardust. Does kind of limit what he can do. He could still try and put a cannon down. And he might, but against a 14 spawning pool, it's not going to get him anywhere. So, unless he has some really crazy position for it. Alternatively, it could be a fake. Now, I mean, what else would he fake it into? Even if it was something like a Stargate, it's so delayed because he hasn't got a gateway down. And he's actually saving up money here to go for a Nexus. So, he's going to play slow. He's going to play traditional. And he is going to play defensively, kind of rightfully so. Snoot now looking for his expansion. Stardust is going to try and deny it for as long as he possibly can. And this is looking like a Wings of Liberty game. This is pretty much what Protoss did every single time before the gateway opening became very popular. Going to go for pylon block too. Okay, well, let's see what the reaction is. I don't think this It does a little bit, honestly. I mean, it does actually put the Protoss player quite nicely ahead, assuming the Protoss can deal with any counterattack, which he can. You know, cannon's coming down. Snoot's only building 4 lings and a queen, so eventually... Is he going to let the pylon finish? That's actually quite a surprise, but that does delay Snoot quite significantly. He's going to now take a base here. I wonder if Stardust will realize that and actually be able to cannon. Well, Snoot actually sees the probe coming in, so I think the probe's just going to get hunted down. Yeah. So there you go. The pylon is going to be killed, so Stardust will lose that, but... That did delay the hatchery coming down quite a bit. I wonder if Snoot will actually go for a third base. I think he will. In this position, there's not much that the Protoss player can really do because their gateway's so late, their cyber core is so late. The only thing he can really do is pull off some nasty cannon trickery, which is not going to happen because the only probe on the map has been identified and has been marked there by that Zergling that's going to chase it all the way back to space. Snoot can go pretty much gasless from here. He doesn't have anything to worry about, really, until... I don't know, about the 8-minute mark is when things can start to happen. We can start to see Void Ray aggression, or we can start to see +1 Zealot aggression. But now it's going to be pretty passive. And this is actually fine for Snoot. Snoot happily plays this kind of style without too much of an issue. So that should be totally cool. Stardust is not really the kind of player that usually plays this way. At least in my personal experience. He likes to get aggressive. That's a +1, so... Couldn't be more traditional. +1 Zealot aggression, most likely towards the third base to do as much damage as possible. Try and kill it. Although, weirdly enough, in this case, the natural ends up being the third base. I wonder... I mean, he is kind of saturating this base before the natural, which... Maybe he's just doing it because this one isn't up yet and he'll move some drones back. But personally, if I was Snoot, I would mine from the natural. It's much safer. Getting creep to the third base on this map is really hard. As you can see, I mean, he hasn't even put down a creep tumor yet because he doesn't have his natural. It'll probably start to extend creep from here, but he only has 2 queens. So getting creep to the third base and actually reinforcing that third base, especially gasless, is going to be really difficult. I think Stardust is in a good spot here. He's going to add the Robo after this, so I'm interested to see where that goes down. He's not adding on any more gateways, so he could go straight up to Colossus, and he's getting 4 gas, so I have a feeling he might do just that. Could be Zealot Archon, it could be all manner of different things, but Stardust is going to try and apply some pressure. He only has a single Zealot here, and he's then going to go straight into a Sentry. So, will we see gateways coming in behind this? Well, he's got about a minute of real time before the +1 finishes. A Twilight Council? And another Forge. This is interesting. So, Stardust playing a really tech-heavy 2-base style that with no units, basically. Absolutely not, with the exception of these two. I mean, he hasn't built a mothership core. He doesn't feel he needs it. I don't blame him. He could maybe bring it across the map to help the Zealot aggression, but in this third base is still pretty exposed. Speed is not done. It hasn't even started, in fact. Roach Warren's coming down instead for Snoot, which is probably a good way of doing it, but even then, still, that creep has not joined up yet. There's a couple of minutes before everything is properly linked up. The main is not linked to the natural and things like that, so that can be risky. Sentry coming out here, Observer. +1 armor, and there's the 2 gateways behind it. There's the 3 as well. So I think the Twilight Council's actually straight for +2. So I think he just wants to go straight into +2 attack. Yep, and he does. So really heavy upgrade right now gateway style, but easy transition into Colossus. Or Blinkstalker. So actually this is a very flexible build that's going on here, but of course he doesn't want to let Snoot get too far ahead in terms of his economy. If you let a Zerg drone, they're going to drone. And he's already up to 60 on 3 bases with a lot of lava. He's starting to get these upgrades. He's going straight into Hydralisk here as well, which I like. I think Roach Hydra against what Stardust is currently doing is very, very good. It's an upgrade-heavy gateway style. An Immortal's being added in here. A third base is being added on for Stardust as well. Creep spread was just a little bit too late there. Snoot could have actually stopped that, but he wasn't able to. Now the Lings are going to start to break their way through the rocks in the center here. Give himself another attack path. Keru does have a few rocks and a lot of different attack paths, particularly on these third bases. So once you open up this section in the middle here, things start to get really interesting. Okay, well, both of these players looking okay at the moment. I think Snoot may have the edge, but I just have a feeling these upgrades might become a really big deal. A large amount of Roach Hydra could easily bust a gateway force. Infestation pit's coming down. I mean, he hasn't even started upgrades yet, so he might actually go Infester here. It's entirely possible, or it might be for Swarm Hosts, of course. Going straight up to Hive doesn't make a lot of sense, unless he wants to go for really quick Vipers. But we'll see what he decides to do. Okay, an attack's coming in. I mean, it's not going to do much, I don't think. He wants to try and take that third base out. I don't think he can, and he's actually, if he's not careful, he's going to lose a lot of Lings there. But he is pressuring the third. And there aren't that many high DPS units here. He does get the good force field off here, however. Stardust brings in the second Immortal from the back here. Lings come around the side to get one sentry. Will they get a second? No, they will not. And Snoot is forced back, and that was a fairly costly attack there for Snoot, and it will be Swarm Hosts. Snoot the liar. Going up for 14 more drones here as well. He's going to go up to 80 drones, 3 base Swarm Host against a very heavily upgraded Gateway Force. But here's the thing. Stardust wants to attack now, and he's got the units to do it. And only 3 Swarm Hosts. That's not that many. Admittedly, the usual things you use against Swarm Hosts are not really available yet for Stardust, but he might just have a big enough army to smash this down, but now there's 7 on the way. So, if Snoot is able to get these into position, Enduring Locust isn't done yet, but it's not actually that relevant with an attack this close to the base, then I don't think that Stardust can actually push this. It seems unlikely. Swarm Hosts are being burrowed, and Stardust does see them. Well, watch out, the Immortals can knock them down, and in they go. Lings into the front here, trying to take down the Zealots. They're not able to do that. +2, really helping out a lot here. Snoot's army is not doing anything. Stardust's army is smashing it to pieces, and this heavy upgrade style versus Snoot is working absolute wonders. Some Swarm Hosts came out, but it seems like they came out at just the wrong time. He needed a couple more minutes to really establish that critical mass. Right now, they're not doing much. The drones come off the line here as well, and these units do not die. Stardust has lost barely anything. This is ridiculous. He's lost only Zealots and a single sentry. The Immortals are still alive. All of the sentries are still up. The Observer's still up. GG! And Stardust, with a really aggressive upgrade heavy push, takes down Snoot just before he can really establish that Swarm Host bulk there. And, well, let me just put it this way. I think Stardust had Snoot's number. Snoot could have done it, I think. I think he had what he needed. But I think he also needed a couple more minutes. That's the one thing he didn't have, and that was time. As the attack came in, he must have been thinking to himself, oh, if only I'd got those Swarm Hosts out a little earlier. If he'd had 9 Swarm Hosts with the rest of his army, and he'd actually synced that up with the Locusts, I think he could have held it. But honestly, we're looking at a 2-1 versus a 0-0 Zerg army before the critical Swarm Host mass comes up. And it seems like we saw a really nicely planned out timing there to hit with 2 Immortals, maximum sentries, big 2-1 upgrade Zealot push, and he just rolled over the Zerg player. One shouldn't, of course, discount the power of those force fields, though. Really well positioned, locking all the units in there, keeping the sentries alive, saving his third base, which, as it turned out, didn't really do anything. You know, he never got a chance to really mine from it. As usual, when playing against a Protoss, the third is alive. Well, 2-0 lead here for mYinsanity, but now we're going into a couple of Zerg versus Zerg matchups. We've got Zervas and Rhett on the docket here, and Serral and TLO. Let's see if the Zerg players of Team Liquid will be able to bring it back, or whether we're going to see yet another sweep here for mYinsanity. It's possible. Wrecking Ball will be the next map, folks. Do not go anywhere. Alright, folks, welcome back. My apologies for the delay. We were just waiting on one of our players to get into the lobby, and we are about ready to rock and roll, and I'm going to get right into it. It's going to be on Wrecking Ball. It's going to be a ZVZ between Zervas and Liquid Rhett. Rhett's going to have to be the guy that brings it back here for his team. They're currently down 2-0 in this series. That said, you can pretty much argue that it was expected, you know? It was... I wouldn't say there were mismatches, but it's Jack G and Stardust. They don't mess around. They're very high-quality players, and they're difficult to beat at the best of times. So I don't think it was an unexpected result to go down 2-0 so early, and that was, frankly, clearly what mYinsanity had in mind. And they seem to play that out very well, and they got that 2-0 lead, and now they've given a nice cushion to the rest of their players. And it also means that you are guaranteed to see Balloon play, which I would imagine that the way that they set up their lineup was deliberately that way as well. You know, they wanted to be able to get Balloon in later, even if they did front-load their 2 strongest players at the start. So, let's see if Rhett can pick it back up here for Team Liquid. He is in the red trunks playing Zerg to the south of Wrecking Ball versus his opponent to the north position. In the blue trunks playing Zerg, it is mYinsanity Zervas. Zervas is pretty good. Seen him play quite a bit already, and he is rock-solid Foreigner, as are... Well, I mean, to be fair, if you look at the Foreigner lineup of mYe, I know Jack G and Stardust get a lot of the hype, but their Foreigner lineup is really strong. It might not be that well known. Players like Serral, players like Zervas, players like A-Bomb are maybe not the kind of players that you immediately say, oh yeah, top Foreigner, absolutely. But they are very good, and there's a lot of up-and-comers that I think can really develop their talent here on mYe, so that's pretty good. And of course they also have Kane, who lately has just been playing in the 2v2s, which is a bit weird, considering Kane is really strong You just need to look at what happened with mYinsanity versus Axiom in the Ace of Team Story Cup, where Kane actually ended up taking 2 maps from Axiom, which is unexpected, but Kane's rock solid. He's a really, really good player. Spawning pool coming down on footing supply here for Zervas, and a hatchery first here for Rhett. So not too much of a difference, and that shouldn't really cause too many discrepancies. It may open up a slight timing for Zervas, assuming he takes gas, to be able to get out his speed a little bit earlier than Rhett, which might cause a couple of problems, but that's a very, very small disadvantage for Rhett that will most likely be alleviated very quickly. Usually it doesn't turn into anything. So, there's that. You can see there's a 40-second difference in the spawning pool time, but there's been no gas taken by Zervas, so what's most likely going to happen is that nothing happens. You know, there's going to be no difference between the two builds because there is no gas available yet for Zervas, and in fact, Rhett is the first to take gas. So, Zervas will play gasless for the time being. He may decide to get extra queens. We'll see whether or not he decides to take a third base. I don't think so on this map. That seems very risky. That doesn't seem like the thing you'd really want to do in a ZVZ initially. This will probably be sticking on 2 bases for a while. In whatever happens, you end up expanding towards your opponent, and it leaves... there's some pretty open areas that can be attacked by Zealot run-bys. This base right here is probably the easiest to take, but it's not a very good base. It only has 1 gas and 6 mineral patches. It's maybe not ideal. Some of the other bases are kind of... well, they're out of the way. They're a little bit difficult to take. But we've seen a little bit of ZVZ on this map before, and it's been okay. We saw Suppy versus Biel, a very famous win there for Team Liquid against Incredible Miracle. Not Team Liquid, sorry, Evil Geniuses against Incredible Miracle. It was really, really impressive. Suppy was able to take out Biel with a really nasty 2-base Baneling bust. And Zervas going to have a little jog around, see what he can see. Speed is now on the way here for Rhett. 2 more queens actually coming out for Zervas, and there's 2 on the way here for Rhett. Rhett actually didn't start with the queen. He went for the double queen, where you build them both at the same time and go for that synchronized lava injection, which works really well if you want to surge drones, which Rhett likes to do. But this is a ZVZ, so you can't really go too high in drones, because what will happen is the other Zerg player doesn't do that, and then just murders you. So you gotta watch out. It's a knife-edge matchup, certainly. Speed will be out, and we're going to see a Baneling nest here for Rhett. So he's the one, I would imagine, who is going to get aggressive, especially with the speed here. I'm surprised that Zervas hasn't gone for more, but it's feasible that with 4 queens, he would be able to shut something like this down. This ramp is very narrow. You can go with a 2-queen block here very effectively, and the main is quite safe. It's kind of difficult to access. Zervas is going to go with a Spine Crawler at the top of the ramp right here. The Lings will be driven away, and Rhett's going to get... no, he's not going to get out of there. He almost did, but... he's got shut down. Rhett's going with more drones here as well, and it's taking a 3rd hatchery, interestingly enough, so perhaps that is not an aggressive build here from Rhett. He just wants a Baneling nest down for safety. Did he cancel his Baneling nest? Yeah, he did, actually. I was going to say, hang on a minute, where is it? Unless he's hiding it somewhere else. Yeah, so he scouted what Zervas had and said, oh, alright then, I guess I don't need a Baneling nest because you're not going to do anything, so I'll take a 3rd instead. So, overall, a fairly passive ZVZ to start this off, which is certainly unusual. Rhett's probably going to lose an Overlord here, which, unfortunately, there's nothing you can really do to punish it. Zervas has the double queen at the front, and Rhett losing an Overlord kind of sucks. It supply blocks him a little bit, actually, for a good 10 seconds, which is not really what you want, but as Zerg, it doesn't matter that much. You can very easily surge up behind that. Both of our Zerg players going queen. Roach Warren coming down for Zervas, though. But +1 ranged upgrade is coming in for Rhett as well. So it looks like we're going to see a Roach War scenario. I would think that, honestly, with this 3rd base, Rhett has a really good shot of making that work. The 3rd base comes down for Zervas, but it's a lot later. That means we're going to have several rounds of lava available here for Rhett, which is going to be great. Rhett also went for the double evolution chamber quite early on. The evolution chamber is a lot later here for Zervas, who has not started his +1 yet. And obviously gas was a lot later for Zervas as well. And with the cancelled Baneling nest and the fact that he didn't have to build too many units, Rhett's in a pretty good spot. Alright, he's got speed, so he's going to have a look and see what he can see. Probably attempt to deny that 3rd base. The couple of queens are not going to be enough to hold that, and Zervas is going to have to build roaches. Thankfully, he is. Will the Lings be able to do the job? Well, if he attempts to run by, that's not going to work, but he will go for the 3rd, and he's going to have a nibble at it. There's a decent amount of Lings here, and there's no creeper there, so those queens are going to take a while to get there. Even the roaches are going to take a while to get there off creep. This is looking like it's going to be a cancellation. That's a nice run by there from Rhett. Really, really good attack. Gets the cancellation. Gets... oh, sick transfuse on the drone. Wow, Zervas with the clutch plays. Actually keeps that drone alive, is able to rebuild that hatchery. And even killing that drone would have been huge, because it's just an extra, like, 15 seconds of time where you're not building a hatchery. But the cancel's good. I mean, Rhett can be pretty happy with what he did. He sacrificed very few lings, 7 in total, 2 in the scouting, so basically 5, in order to cancel a hatchery. I mean, that's brilliant. His hatchery's already up, and he's got a queen there too. He's gone for the minimal queen strategy. He's not spreading creep. He's basically letting his opponent do it, and he's going for a very economically focused build. He is almost 10 drones up, 8 in fact. Really, really good. And he is working on double upgrades. Roach speed is on the way here. +1 missile attack is about to finish. 12 roaches are on the way here for Rhett. Let's see what kind of timing he wants to hit. Zervas has a decent amount of roaches. He's got as many. In fact, yeah, he's got as many as Rhett there. And he will try to get aggressive, but I don't think that push will work. That said, he's going to have +1 done. He will not have roach speed done by the time this hits, though. And Rhett will, which is going to give him that positional advantage. It's also going to give him the reinforcement advantage, where any roaches he spawns will get to that front line a lot faster. Zervas turns around there for a second, thinking, he's getting a bit of indecision. I wonder what he saw that gave him that information. I think maybe he just saw that spot of roaches there, and maybe even saw the speed they were moving and said, oh, crap, roach speed. All right, well, I don't want to attack here, because if I'm caught out in the middle of nowhere and I lose the fight, there's no retreat at that point for Zervas. He loses all of his roaches if he backs off there. So his next strategy is, okay, right, I'm behind an upgrade. So what I'll do is I'll add Hydras before you do. And that's going to be a much bigger force of firepower that I can put towards you instead of going pure roach in the way that Rhett's gone. But Rhett does have 28 roaches, and they have speed and double upgrades. +1/+1. Although roach speed is also about to finish here for Zervas. Nice little ling run by, actually. Really nice. He's going to get maybe a drone out of that? No. A little bit of distraction, but he does get some information, and he's going in for it. Rhett does have the slight lead in terms of units. The concave is slightly better for Zervas, but I don't think it really matters. There's only 1 roach stuck at the back that's not able to fire, whereas Zervas actually has a couple. And down goes the Overseer, but Zervas is able to push this back, at least for the time being. There's not enough roaches here for Rhett to break this yet. Burrow's coming in for Rhett, though. That might be helpful. He's working on his +2 upgrades. I saw an infestation pit go down there as well. So we will see that go on in the future. He may decide to go straight for Hive and +3. It would be very unlikely. There we go. There's the pathogen glands coming up. In the Roach Wars, it is pretty vital that you get your infestors. But we've got 2 different tech paths. Divergence here for Zervas. Not that terrible tween movie either. We've got Hydralisks here for Zervas, and we've got Infestors here for Rhett. So Rhett has less damage potential, but he has more control. And if Zervas bunches up, he could take a lot of AoE damage over time, which will be pretty crucial. It's also even possible to kill the Hydralisks with Fungals at the back, which is a pretty cool way of doing things. So, yeah, well, this is going to be an interesting one. A little bit of disparity between these 2 players. So far, Rhett still has that economic lead. He got that 3rd base up much earlier. He's getting a 4th base, which, again, you don't usually see that in Zerg vs. Zerg, but seems to be working out pretty well for him here. And Rhett's now going to make his way across the map. He's looking to do damage with a small force of roaches here. But honestly, Zervas has excellent Overlord positioning everywhere. And Rhett doesn't. Rhett doesn't have that information. And really, he can't get it either, because Hydralisks are out now. So it's not going to be too good. Rhett getting caught out, losing a few roaches. Oh, losing quite a lot of roaches, actually. This is going to suck. So he's going to lose almost all of these roaches in that initial scouting force, which means that the roach count is currently heavily in favor of Zervas, and he has Hydras. And the Infestors are not there yet, but they will be. Pathogen Glands is done. There'll be 5 Infestors ready. So, yes, there is a superior roach count, but if it attacks into a bad choke point and gets fungled, Zervas could very easily lose this fight. Currently, the upgrades are even. Zervas finishes his +2. Is he ready to batter down the front? He might be. Reinforcements come in another. 18 roaches. Zervas could actually do damage to the mineral line from behind here. This is actually a nasty base to take because of this. And if you don't have spine crawlers here, it's very difficult to protect that. So this 4th base is going to be difficult to mine from, but it will still provide lava here for Red. Oh, man. Infestors are now done. He's looking for the catch. He's looking for the fungals. Will he get it? I mean, what a butt. Look at that. Look at the size of that. Oh, Zervas spots it. Again, Zervas with a great Overlord positioning actually sees the Infestors. Man, if he hadn't seen that, that could have been absolutely devastating. Alright, well, Zervas now knows he has to be careful. He's up against Infestors. That could do significant damage to him. He needs to watch out for that. He needs to be very, very careful. Alright. Spinecrawler coming down for Rhett. He's pretty well defended here. Now he's got Spinecrawlers towards the back, so he should be able to fight off at least a few of those roaches. But he can't still safely mine from this position. So he does need to watch out for that. I'd like to see Rhett do a bit of a run-by here. He's actually going to go straight up to Hive, so he's looking for 3-3, I would imagine. He might want to try and get Vipers into this mix. That would be pretty good against the Roach Ball. And if you have a huge group of Roaches, Blinding Cloud still works. And, of course, on the Hydras, it's really effective. So, Zervas, on the other hand, going for Muscular Augments. A couple of Hydras being added in for Rhett here. Current army supply is pretty even. I don't think Zervas can break this front. But I guess we're about to find out. Zervas looks for the surround here. Not all the Roaches are ready here for Rhett. He is bringing in the Infestors around the back, though. So there's the Fungal into the center, trying to take out that center mass. And Rhett should be able to defeat this without too much of a problem, I think. Yep, Zervas kind of throwing it away there. And taking a pretty bad fight, as Rhett is able to easily fend that off. And Remax coming in. We've got a little bit of action from around the side as a run-by. Actually, wow, I did not notice that. So Zervas actually sacrificed a lot of his army to send the rest of it around the side and kill off a third base. My apologies for missing that. I don't think that makes a lot of difference because Rhett still has his third base he can mine from, and Zervas lost a huge amount of units. Will Zervas be able to reinforce? Rhett is maxed. I mean, army supply is 130 to 102, and it's got Infestors in the mix here as well. 26 Roaches to 52. If Rhett actually attacked here, I'm not 100% convinced that Zervas could hold it, but his Hydra count is starting to get pretty large. He has 11, so he does have that damage per second coming in. Vipers being added in here for Rhett, as I mentioned. You know, against these big balls, it's very useful. Cancellation on Spine Crawlers there. And Rhett actually going for 202 supply here. Really maxing out, just wanting to get as much as he can. Going for this big, big army, getting a couple of Vipers in. And then he may decide to attack. He is one base down, but it should be brought up quite fast. If you look at the income, it's not too bad. Rhett's still mining fine. He's still on 3 bases. He hasn't completely mined out his main base yet. His natural's looking just fine. Quick pause here for Zervas. He's claiming he has a 2-second delay. And he's just going to try and resolve that. So, current scenario. I still think Rhett's in a good spot. He did lose a base, which does suck, but he did have this earlier 4th, and he was able to defend it, and then he just transferred his drones to mine from there. So he's got a slight oversaturation issue at his main, but outside of that, he's kind of fine. He's spread his drones to the right places. He can still mine from 3 bases, so it's more like 2.5 at the moment. And by the time the main mine's out, his third is going to be back up, so he doesn't need to worry about it. Zervas is on 4 bases, and they haven't been attacked, so that's nice. But Zervas was later at getting his third because of the earlier cancellation. Zervas lost a lot of army to take out that base, and I don't think he benefited too much from it. Zervas is still not remaxed yet. He will get there. No, he is Zerg. He's got a pretty sizable bank. He should be able to get back up there. He's building a lot of Spine Crawlers, and he's adding on Infestors. What he doesn't have is Hive. He doesn't have +3, and he doesn't have Vipers, which could really make the difference. Okay, Zervas is pretty much ready to rock and roll. We're ready to get back into the game, and here we go. So I imagine Rhett will try and push with the Vipers. I don't see why he wouldn't. The Vipers are currently, of course, trying to get as much energy as they can. The Blinding Clouds could be absolutely crucial. One army with Blinding Cloud, one army that doesn't. If you combine... Here's the really dangerous part of this composition. You combine Fungal Growth with Blinding Cloud. So, usually the way you deal with Blinding Cloud is just to get out of it, right? Well, what if you can't? You just die. Because only half of your army is able to attack, whereas all of Rhett's will be able to. So, this is potentially hugely dangerous. That said, Zervas did just scout the Vipers. So, Zervas is going to have to be really careful with how he fights here. Oh, and he's going to fight without the Vipers there, but he goes in the middle of the huge fungal growth in the center. Massive fungals on both sides. Who's going to break who at this point? All of the Infestor energy is pretty much gone here for Rhett. The Vipers are coming in, but the fungals aren't there. And it looks like Rhett went in a little bit too soon. But I think he just might have enough. No, yes, kind of, almost. Just mutually assured Zerg destruction on both sides. I am very surprised that Rhett went out without his Vipers. That would have been a completely different fight. That would have been a game-ending fight if those Vipers were actually with him. But really great scouting from Zervas to spot them, to say, oh, he's got Vipers. What if I meet him? Like, maybe he must be posturing to move out. What if I catch him before his Vipers reach the army? Because I know they're still at his 4th base getting energy. And then he goes for it. But here's the big problem for Zervas. Rhett managed to take that fight slightly better and is going to have 3-3 with his next attack. He still has 6 Infestors. Zervas only has 2. And now he has his Vipers with his army. This is going to be really hard for Zervas to hold. He's trying to take a 5th base to the front here. I mean, that's not going to live. That is, I think, more of a delay than anything else. And Zervas is desperately trying to get his own Vipers up. But, God, Rhett's army is huge. And Zervas is going to be in a huge amount of trouble when this hits. 3-3 is done in about 10 seconds, as you can see, thanks to the wonderful Game Heart overlay to the side right there. And I think Doom comes to Zervas right now. Can he hold? I guess we're about to find out. A huge 3-3 army of Roaches, Hydralisks, Infestors, and of course the mighty Vipers with the blinding clouds. That 4th base is going to be very easily destroyed. A huge amount of firepower. I mean, these Hydras are hitting like trucks. 15 damage. They're shooting more than once a second. Massive damage per second potential here. Rhett's taken a base up to the top here, using the neutral missile turrets to defend it. And of course, this base is going to die. It does give Zervas a bit of time to get things done, and a couple of great fungals are going to go off, and they're going to do some damage. But they're not going to kill the army. And Zervas will lose this base. And now Rhett looks to go for the Death March. He has 2 full Vipers. They're ready with the blinding clouds. He still has fungal. Zervas is moving around the side to try and defend this base. He needs to take an exceptional fight. A couple of Roaches actually denying the re-expansion here. Oh! Good fungal right there. Blinding clouds come down on both sides. Who gets to shoot? Not that many by the looks of it. Zervas is actually getting the better end of this. Only just... Will Rhett's upgrades actually be enough? Rhett is plummeting in supply here. Zervas got the better end of it with the fungals and with the blinding clouds, but Rhett with a huge Roach remax. Even if Zervas holds, can he hold out against the next wave? 132 supply to 182. Zervas took a great fight there. He got his fungals and his blinding clouds down just before Rhett did, and he was able to move into range, so the blinding cloud made no difference to the army of Zervas. Whereas, I mean, in the ideal scenario, Rhett runs that army over completely with perfect fungals and blinding clouds, but Zervas held that about as well as could be expected. But without this mining base, pretty much mined out here. Mine out his natural. I mean, he's basically on 1 base, whereas Rhett is still mining from his natural, still mining from his 3rd and his 4th, and has taken a 5th. So, this really seems like it would just be a matter of time. Rhett has played this out really well. Zervas has pulled the moves. You know, he's taken the right fights at the right time. But at this point, it's pure numbers. 47 Roaches versus 28. 8 Infestors versus 2. The Hydralisk count isn't really relevant anymore. We still have these Vipers available for both sides. They're both going to kind of come into play here with Blinding Cloud, but I still think Rhett bulldozes this. And even if he doesn't, he bulldozes it with the next wave too. There's so much for him. He has so many units and so many mining bases that Zervas is going to struggle really hard to stay alive. This base is going to get denied by the looks of it. Units are moving in. Admittedly, there's not that much range on them, so it might take a little bit of time, but I think Liquid Rhett is going to go in for the absolute kill here. We're going to see some blinding clouds come down. There's the fungals going down for both sides here. Rhett's Infestor's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Everything gets blinding clouded at this point, and actually Rhett is taking the worst end of this fight yet again as a result of the blinding cloud placement, but I think this time the numbers will be what they need to be. Rhett is able to bulldoze his way through. Despite that, GG Liquid puts one on the board, thanks to Rhett. Showing some really nice Zerg versus Zerg action here on Wrecking Ball. Nicely played, and Team Liquid actually has the score on the board now. This is what they needed. They needed to start the momentum back. If they'd lost this, then I don't see them coming back in that in any way. Not going to happen. No way. However, as it stands, now they've got a good shot, especially with the next game. TLO and ZVZ, always a force to be reckoned with. If the 2 Zerg can bring it back to 2-2, then we've got a fight on our hands. We've got the 2v2, then we've got Balloon, who, how dangerous Balloon is it's random. It's based on what race he gets. So it's hard to know exactly just how good he's going to be in this matchup. Alright, well, TLO is going to be coming up next against Cyril, who is, of course, a fantastic Zerg player. Can Team Liquid equalize at 2-2? We'll find out after the break. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. And things just got fired up. Team Liquid put one back on the board, and they're looking to do it again with the second Zerg versus Zerg of the night. TLO versus Cyril here on New Pompeii. Oh, wow, and then this is a Ling map if ever there was one. So I do not expect this game to go on too long, I've got to say. Both sides putting a Zerg player on this, understanding that this is a map where Lings are dominant. We're going to see some Lingbane Wars. If we see Roaches on this map, I am going to question everything I know about this particular matchup. But I could be wrong. You know, we still don't have a large enough sample size to really say this map is good for this and that and all that stuff. We've seen all sorts of different strategies being employed by all of these teams. So let's see what goes on. All right, welcome to New Pompeii. My pleasure to bring you, currently still up 2-1 in this best-of-7 Pro League format, to the northwest position in the red trunks, playing Zerg. It is mYinsanity Cyril versus his opponent to the east position, around the clock of this map. So you could just say 3 o'clock. It's more, I don't know, it's more 3:30, 3:30. And the blue trunks playing Zerg, Liquid TLO. Comes off his recent win in the Starship Troopers Invitational. Very nice play there from him. He did so mostly by going through Terrans, admittedly, not through Zerg, so that's worth bearing in mind. Okay, why is this map Zerg favored? Or more specifically, why is it Zergling favored? Because it's got 2 entrances. In fact, this map is one giant clock. So what happens is you could take either this or this as your natural. They're both equidistant. Can go either way, doesn't matter. There are 5 spawning positions on this map. The only ones that are invalid are the ones right next to each other. So you couldn't have someone, say, spawn here, but you can have them spawn here. The middle of the map is blocked off by rocks, which is, of course, the theme of a lot of the maps that we do here. As you will notice, there's some rocks right here. You can break through the center, and we've seen a couple of players do it before, but Zerglings are very, very good on this map. Really good. Gas for Cyril. Gas before pool, in fact. Interesting. All right. I think we're going to see that earlier speed here from Cyril, probably into Banelings. And it's important that each player identifies where their opponent is and which is the optimal attack path. Because you need to know which is closer. In this case, it's going to be from the right. There we go. And around there. So that's the optimal attack route. But there's also this one, which goes all the way around here. And you can backstab someone very badly from there. It's also very important to know before you take your expansion. And TLO actually expanded away from his opponent. And this was kind of rolling the dice to some degree. Oh, if he expanded towards his opponent, that could have been bad potentially. But it's hard to say on this map. But yeah, we're going to see very early speed out here from Cyril, which is absolutely the right call. Speed is nowhere near done for TLO. And I mean, he could be in serious trouble here. More Lings coming out here for Cyril. He's going to get aggressive, and I don't blame him. This is a brilliant map for Zerglings. Getting around the map with any other unit is quite slow, but once you've got Zerglings down, what you're able to do is attack from either side without too much of a problem. And with most regular units, you can't do that because it takes too long to get around the side. But with Speedlings, that's not the case. So Cyril has definitely gone for the right build here, and TLO could be caught completely off guard by it. Baneling Nest is on the way. TLO hasn't even got speed started yet. So, I mean, it's going to be a good amount of time. He's only on 1 gas. So, speed is over halfway done here for Cyril already. And I think if Cyril starts flooding Lings, this is going to be a big problem. TLO is building a Baneling Nest, though. The problem is, if he's going to morph in a lot of Banelings, he may not even have the gas for speed, or indeed a lot of Banelings. He might have to make the choice here, unless he takes a second gas, and that's what worries me a little bit here. Cyril is going to start morphing the Banelings in already. He wants to get aggro, but he sent Lings around the other side, too. So he's going to be able to sneak in the other way. Defending against this is very difficult. Yeah, cool, there's a Spinecrawler here and 2 Queens. But what about this side? There's nothing defending it. Not at all. So, this is going to be a bit tricky. Okay, TLO looking for it. Great focus fire on 1 Bane, however. But Cyril has made his way around the corner, and he's looking to bring in more Banelings. However, TLO will spot this. A few more Lings coming in. Cyril's going to have to bring some in from the side as well here. And he's coming in from the side. Oh! Cyril with the Baneling flank! TLO! Ow! Huge damage! Wow. Big explosion. 6 drones killed.
Game pause.
TLO looking for the pause here. Not the best time to pause, I've got to admit. There's Banelings in your base. Possible tactical pause here. Claiming there are network spikes at the moment. Lings in the corner. And, I mean, TLO's already kind of in a bad way. He's down to 9 drones against 14. Cyril just went for a full... I mean, this is a 1 base all in. You got to bear this in mind. Cyril never expanded. He had no intention of expanding. And he just went for a Speedling, Baneling, 1 base all in. And, frankly, right now, TLO is losing to it. He could come back from that. It's possible. As long as he doesn't lose any more drones, he will still have his expansion up, so he does have the possibility of coming back from it, but the aggression is on, and there's no speed. And TLO's showing no sign of getting speed. He needs to build Banelings. He can't afford the gas for speed here. So, I don't know. TLO, I think, is in a very bad way, and it's going to be very difficult for him to defend. All right, here we go. Lings back into the fray, trying to take out that Queen. Not able to do so. How good is TLO's focus fire? It's pretty good. He has been picking off Banelings quite well. And Serral does need to watch out for that. Doesn't want to lose too many Banes for free. There are defensive Banelings now available for TLO. If he can get a good hit, then he may be able to stabilize. But that's the name of the game here. Stabilize. He has to. Because otherwise, this base will not give him the advantage he needs. He's building drones. TLO knows he must keep his economy in good shape. If he doesn't, he will lose to this one base build. That Baneling is about to morph in and doesn't get a great connection. And that one doesn't either. Wow, okay, that's a really big misstep there for TLO, losing a Baneling like that. He needs every Baneling he can get. Serral going for the Baneling flank again. It's coming in from the side, and TLO is going to have to react to this almost immediately. There's another detonation coming in, and the Baneling's into the center of the map. TLO again eats it. Another 6 workers die. Ouch. TLO's so slow on the reactions to those Banelings. Like, you've got to watch out on this map. You can get attacked from both sides. Serral obviously understands that, and TLO is bleeding badly. Serral bringing some Lings back here for some reason. And I think he's going around the flank. Yeah, he wants to go all the way around the other side here. He knows that TLO is starting to mine from his natural now. Another big attack comes in. Serral looking for it. 2 Banelings on either side. Good surround here by Serral, doing the damage. Great pick-off, though. Good focus fire from TLO. Takes down 1 Bane. And now the Baneling advantage is in favor of... Oh, can he take it? He looks to try and take out that last Baneling. He wants to stop it, but he's forced to spend his own. And now it's that single hero Baneling. That's what remains here to try and defend this drone line, to make sure that TLO can get back into this game. Serral has been droning behind this. He hasn't taken another base yet, but he's thinking about it. He has the gas now to drop it, but he's putting in a few more Banelings into the mix. All right, Serral posturing for yet another assault here on the natural. TLO desperately trying to hold on. Still down in supply, down in workers, down in units. Serral goes for it again. Just wants to nibble off. Just kill as much of his army as he can. TLO just losing unit after unit after unit. How good is TLO's focus fire? Again, very good. Very good. He takes down 1, but 3 Banes are still making their way into the mix. TLO looking for the 3-for-2 trade. Doesn't get it. However, the Lings trying to make their way around. Take 1 down. They don't get a drone. Nice. TLO holding on. Just. He is still in this game, and he is gradually getting this economic disparity back. Great focus fire. This Queen has been the MVP of this game. It gets another Baneling, and finally it dies. Serral's damage, I mean, he's getting desperate. He's getting more Banelings up. He wants to go for it. He's actually trying to expand. He realizes TLO is somehow holding on here. But do not overestimate TLO's capabilities. He is very much still down in supply, and he's going to lose yet more drones, which is really not what you want here. Even a single drone makes a difference in a ZVZ. More Lings coming around the side. Serral may be looking for the 1-2 punch, but is sacrificing Banelings in a very subpar fashion. He does kill the Spine Crawler, but I'm not keen on the efficiency. Like, let's have a look at what's happened here. Serral has lost way more in terms of army than TLO has. TLO has lost 14 drones and 2 queens. That's not to be understated, but 11 Banelings to 2. This has demonstrated just how well TLO has traded and how inefficiently Serral has traded. He's been trying to basically bring in that game-ending blow, and he hasn't managed to do it. Even resources lost. Looking pretty good here. TLO is not in too bad a spot. Obviously, the queens really make up a lot of that resources lost there. Roach Warren now on the way up for Serral. More Lings come in. They try and take down yet more drones, and they're going to be able to get a couple more. 16 workers killed, but still not endgame crippling damage. But it is getting to that point. Every drone that goes down is a disaster for TLO. Another detonation goes off here. Big detonations. And TLO is now out of Banelings, but Serral lost most of his Lings in that. So that was actually a kind of pretty great trade there for TLO, getting those Baneling hits. No Banelings come in. Serral wants to kill it now, but they've moved to the natural. They've evacuated. There's nothing there. And those 2 Lings will try and take out those remaining Banes. Can they get one? They're looking for it. He happily blocks them off. He takes all the Banelings out, and TLO is kind of stabilizing. Just, but he's got no queens. And I think finally he may start to really lose his economy. But he's going for a counterattack. Lings on the way. There are roaches up, though, but some drones will die here. One would think. He gets the surround. Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to work. He gets... Ah, there we go. GG. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was prolonging the inevitable, but I gotta say, TLO defended pretty well there, considering. Taking those 2 big Baneling flanks on his drones really is what killed him. It buried him economically. If he'd even managed to mitigate that slightly, he would have probably been back in the game. But Serral understood the map. He was able to attack from both sides. 1 base Baneling did the job. And now it's match point. And mYe is able to bring up yet another juggernaut from their lineup, folks. Yes, indeed. And that's scary. That should be really, really scary. We'll find out after the break whether or not mYe can close it out 4-1, or whether we will see that comeback. We'll be right back. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to SHOUTCraft Clan Wars, and we've actually moved things around again. Turns out Neuroxus was able to get home in time, and as such, we're just going with the regular running order. We've got the 2v2 coming in right here, and this could very well be the end for Team Liquid. There's a very strong 2v2 team in the form of Kane and Neuroxus, although they did recently lose to Alicia and Hart in this very same matchup. So let's see if their practice is going to work here against the Zerg versus Terran combo. We are about ready to kick it off. Looks like everybody in the game is as well. So let's rock and roll here on the 2v2 map. Will this be a nice and easy victory here for mYinsanity? Will it be yet another 4-1 for their team? Will they be the kings of Clan Wars with a 4-0 result? It's entirely possible. I mean, mYinsanity have had, obviously, a lot of exposure in the Clan Wars so far. They have been the team that has played the most, but 100% win ratio, 4-0 against teams like IVD, Axiom, Team Liquid, and, of course, Clan Who is pretty impressive. So, if they can pick this up, that would be really, really good for them. Let's see if they're able to do so. They actually had a match scheduled against MVP, but unfortunately that had to be moved. So, hopefully we will be able to get that done again, maybe at the start of May, due to cancellations. Alright. What? I turned this overlay off. Why is it back on? Right, okay, well, my apologies. You're going to see a dodgy overlay at the bottom of the screen. That's not supposed to be there. I actually turned that off, and apparently it turned itself back on when I switched servers, so I would very much appreciate it. It is a little tip for the Blizzard guys, by the way. It would be nice if you could turn off overlays without having to restart your client. That would be pretty good. By the way, there's nothing wrong with GameHeart. It's just this overlay is the GameHeart 1v1 overlay, and it doesn't work properly with the 2v2 maps. Alright, here we go. For Team Liquid. The last men standing. They must turn this around for their team, otherwise it will be a swift and brutal victory for their opponents. In the blue trunks, it is Liquid Snoot, and in the red trunks, it is Liquid Bunny. Versus their opponents for mYinsanity. To the west of the map, he usually plays Zerg, but in 2v2 he's a Terran player. He is mYinsanity Neuroxus. And his teammate, the one and only Kane, also known as Rip N.A. Kane. He moved to Europe, and he pretty much prospered. You know, Kane, the winner of SHOUTCraft America. Very much an up-and-comer. Used to be on Roots. He moved to mYinsanity so he could go and play in Europe because he felt that he would get better that way. And he has. Alright, gas first here for Bunny. Way before the barracks. Probably going to be a Banshee play. This is a very good map for Banshees. A lot of very obvious reasons there. Being able to bypass this entire wall off here. I mean, these aren't even cliffs. These are walls. You can't even get across them with Reapers, so you need air units to really make that work. Neuroxus, with a very quick scout, though, will identify that this is the case. So he'll know exactly what he's up against. In fact, he might even... You know, he doesn't respect the Terran bro code. He's going to use his SCV to attack a fellow Terran SCV, which, as far as I'm concerned, is disgusting behavior. Now he's going to be able to check the gas and the amount mined, so he can pretty much assure himself that this will be a Banshee play. Snoot gas opening into spawning pool. And Neuroxus himself did go for the gas, but if you notice, if you compare the actual gas timings, you will see that Bunny's was very slightly earlier. Not by much, but it's about 25 gas difference between the two. Snoot's going to scout, see exactly what's going on here, and Snoot with... interesting, yeah, he's just taking over for link speed and nothing else. Neither of these guys going for this, I would call it maybe the Axiom build on this map, which is the attempted barracks wall off in the center. So, I mean, this could be a very quick game. We'll see just how good these guys are at 2v2, I suppose. How good are Bunny and Snoot at 2v2? How much have they practiced? We know Kane and Neuroxus are kind of the dedicated 2v2 team now for mYinsanity. Ah, Bunny... That's a reactor. That's not what I expected to see here. I feel this is an adaptation to getting scouted so early on. I don't think we're gonna... We might see a Banshee out of him still, but it might not be Cloak. We might actually see Hellions here. Speedling Hellion is pretty powerful. But no, we're not going to see Hellions because he's building double Marine. What is he up to? Well, Bunny is going mech. He's bringing in a second factory. Will we see Blue Flame? That would be cool. Wow, we might. We very well might. So he gets scouted again, then does his swap. He was actually building before. And now he's going to build... It's just going to be straight Red Flame Hellion, double reactor. Wow, okay. Alright, Lings are out on the map. They are on the wrong side of the map. Who's going to get speed first? Well, it's actually going to be Snoot by 1 second. So Snoot actually might get the better end of this, although not by much. He's going to chase him down, and he decides to back off. He doesn't know when his opponent gets speed, and now, of course, Kane has speed as well, so this is going to be an ultimately pointless dance in the middle of the map. What's Neuroxus going to do? Well, he's going for another factory as well. This is getting really weird. Okay, so we're going to see massive amounts of Hellions here from Bunny. He's going to go 4 Hellions at a time against very Ling-heavy plays. A couple of Snoot's Banelings preparing to go here. And they're going to cross the map. A couple of Lings out here for Neuroxus. Not where you want to fight against Hellions, I tell you. This is a narrow corridor of flame and destruction. You don't want to be anywhere near that. Bunny now posturing. Bringing in his Hellions. He has 4 now. Of course, Neuroxus is also going to do the same thing. So they're pretty much doing the same builds, but one's slightly later than the other. So Bunny is going to have a Hellion advantage. Is it close? It's too close to tell. I'm going to be honest. It is too close to tell who can win that fight there. And we're seeing a Banshee-less play on Sacred Path, which is fairly rare. And I think that all comes down to the scouting. It's possible that that's what they were intending to do in the first place. No, don't get me wrong. That is entirely possible. 1 Hellion goes down. Nice play there by Bunny. He did have the overwhelming numbers there, so that works pretty well. But yeah, they could have been planning this, but I do have a feeling, considering that gas timing, that Bunny was actually looking to go for the Banshees, and then he got scouted and changed his build. Bunny getting the good end of this, though. Lings come around the side. Snoot looking to try and catch the remaining Hellions, but he can't do that. He's overextending. He wants to be a little bit careful here. Snoot bringing Banelings down the back, but they're actually out of position. 3 Banelings coming in the side here. There's the Hellion shots going off. Can Snoot get the connections he needs? Kane looking to go in with his bright purple Banelings here as well. And Snoot positioning around the side, just waiting to pull off that flank there. And both players playing extremely cautiously at this point. Hellion count, looking at 13 versus 7. Bunny with the clear advantage. That's going to get some Banelings. He gets 2. Nice shots. And Kane trying to get this around. However, Snoot with the flank coming in with the Lings to defend those Hellions. All the Banelings go down. Liquid is looking pretty good here as they push all the way towards Kane's base, who lost all of his Banelings, is about to lose his queen in a bout of fire and destruction. As Snoot's Lings come in from the back, Baneling reinforcements coming in from the back as well. Neuroxus brings in his Hellions, cuts off the reinforcements here, but it may be too little too late. Yes, we'll find out. Snoot and Bunny trying to get the engagement now, and Neuroxus does not have enough Hellions to fight this. There are roaches on the way out here for Kane. Will it be enough to stop what's going to happen? Kane is trying to clean out the big Baneling detonation goes off. He tries to cancel this natural. He tries to get the surround on the roaches, and he does get them. In the meantime, Bunny chasing Neuroxus all the way back to his base. Reinforcements streaming across the map right here for Snoot. They take out the roaches. More roaches surrounded. The natural base is surely forfeit. And now the Lings making their way into the main base. And Team Liquid looking to try and straighten things up. Great shots here by Neuroxus. Will they be enough to defeat Bunny's Hellions? Not so much. So close. Neuroxus with the great angles, but it's not enough. Bunny is able to get away with just a few Hellions left. Snoot is ravaging the mineral line of Kane. mYinsanity is in a huge amount of trouble right now, and they're just desperately trying to hold on, but the drones are gone. Kane has been gutted. The Banelings come in for the finisher. There's nothing for them to kill. There's nothing for them to kill. And Neuroxus is going to go down. Kane goes down, and GG Team Liquid puts another one on the board, and they will not be dying quite yet. Alright, well, we can safely say that Snoot and Bunny had the build going on there, and just everything was slightly later, honestly, for the mYinsanity guys. They scouted what looked to be a Banshee player, ended up being that double Red Flame Hellion, Speedling Hellion, and the Team Liquid guys by that point just had slightly more, and they got the good shots off. They killed a couple of Hellions early, and then they killed those 4 Banelings, and at that point, there was no way in a million years that was getting held. Great build there by the Team Liquid guys. Really, really good. Absolutely did the job. Alright, well, we have a clan war on our hands, and now we're heading to the Korea server. For the next game, it will be Balloon versus Mana to determine whether or not we will go to an ace match. We'll be right back. You're watching SHOUTCraft Clan Wars, sponsored by MLG TV. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. Can Team Liquid bring it to the ace match? They are certainly looking to do just that, and they may even bring out one of their Korean players for the ace. It's certainly a possibility, but they didn't line any of them up today, which is interesting. All right, this is going to be the matchup right here. Mana versus Balloon. Balloon, the most recent acquisition. Here for mYinsanity. He's a random player, and he's actually top Korean Grandmaster random, which is bizarre because you've never really heard of something like that, have you? Well, he's good. He's really, really good. He has admitted himself, however, that his best matchup is, I believe, PvT, and that his best race is Protoss. So we will see where this goes. I'm just going to wait for Balloon to join. So far, this scoreline looks something like this. It's 3-2 in favor of mYinsanity. mYinsanity did just pick up a win prior to the 2v2, but Team Liquid, surprisingly enough, were able to really bring it in the 2v2. I mean, that's maybe the place where you'd expect mYinsanity to shine, but as it turns out, Buddy and Snoop pretty good. And this is what the scoreline now looks like. This is what the lineup now looks like. Mana versus Balloon will be a decider here as to whether or not we get to see an ace between these two teams. And I certainly dearly hope that we do see an ace match. That would be absolutely fantastic. I'm going to bring Balloon back into the lobby here. This will be played on NA because, of course, Balloon is in Korea and Mana is in Europe, so that's the only first server to go on here. And it will be on New Polaris Rhapsody, which is a map that Mana and Balloon are both very familiar with. But we have no idea how this is going to go, because if Balloon ends up with a race that's not Protoss, I don't know if he can actually do the job here. Balloon did lose quite convincingly to Ryung in the WCS America qualifiers, and he didn't get Protoss. You know, he got, I think, Zerg and Terran, and he lost both games very quickly. So let's see if Balloon's random is really up to snuff. The countdown has now begun. New Polaris Rhapsody will be the place where it is decided whether or not we hit an ace match between mYinsanity and Team Liquid. And Balloon will be the man that has to try and close it out here for MYI. Let's see if I can do it. Alright. We're loading into the map. Mana's going Protoss. Balloon is random. Let's see what he gets. What is he going to get with that? Will it be Protoss? Who knows? And it's Terran. Alright. That's probably bad news for Balloon, honestly. Let's see if he's good enough. If he could beat Mana as Terran playing random, I will be very impressed. I know Balloon's Protoss is very, very good. It's really good. Just a couple of days ago, on this very map, he beat Heart by playing Protoss. But now he has to play Terran in the purple trunks to the southeast for mYinsanity. Versus his opponent, this man used to be known as one of the best PvTers in the world. He was that damn good. Maybe not so much now, but still a strong matchup for him. In the red trunks, playing Protoss, Liquid Mana, which I will never get used to saying. My brain still tells me, no, it's Mouse Mana, it's Mouse Mana. He would always be Mouse Mana, right? No. That is not the case anymore. He was let go, and Liquid picked him up, and he's been doing pretty well since he got onto Team Liquid. Very supportive team. Pretty much any player that goes to Team Liquid does tend to thrive in their own way. Okay. Well, let's see what comes out of Mana here. So, New Polaris Rhapsody is one of the more well-known weird maps that we have in our pool, because it was played at Red Bull, and it has Raising Lava every 5 minutes, which covers almost everything. Basically, here is safe, and then the whole center of the map, not safe. Those bridges get drowned, everything gets drowned, and to the sides, you're okay too, as long as you're up on the high ground. So, Mana. Scouting quite early. Gateway down, Assimilator down. Mana is not known as being a cheeser. Mana is very much a macro player. No doubt about that. He is very passive, and he generally favors Colossus. Although lately we've certainly been seeing some Templar coming out of him. I would expect a Colossus style out of him on this map. We might see air. It's pretty rare to see air out of him, but it's a good map for it. It's actually just a ridiculously good map for it. Balloon demonstrated that oracles on this map against Terran are absolutely brutal. Very easy to swap between the natural and the main base. In fact, it's one of the easiest maps in the map pool to do that on because of this tiny little wall off right here. Warp Prism players also viable on this map because of this little area here. And we're seeing the more savvy players that have actually practiced the map put either a pylon or a supply depot down there, or indeed spread creep in that direction just to make sure that those drops can't happen. That said, it works the same for Terran. Terran can drop in that area, and if they drop a siege tank there, they can actually siege the natural from that position. And we have seen players attempt to do that as well. Very wide open base. That can be risky, and Balloon is going to have to scout his own main, I think, here, because that probe is still there. And if Mana can take that opportunity, he will, and he should. If he can go for a warp in, there's no reason not to. It's well hidden. It's a big map. Very big map. And the main... The difference between the main and the natural, there really isn't one. They're kind of the same piece of terrain. There's no ramp. You've got this kind of very narrow corridor here, but... Well, Mana's not a cheeser, so he's moving out. And I'm a bit disappointed, because I think Mana could have actually got that in there. I think maybe Balloon would have scouted and said, oh, where's your pylon? Like, where's your third pylon? It's not in your main base. But Mana could have kept it then, maybe thrown his fourth pylon down there and done a bit of a zealot warping. But he's going to get an SCV here and delay that expansion. So, hey, that works too. Now, he got some real value out of that probe. He's going to scout again. He's going to see a second barracks coming down, which... A third barracks. Okay, I mean, That's third max full factory. That's actually becoming a little bit more standard lately, and I think it's more of an answer to oracles, honestly. Oh, mana. Oh, mana. Yeah, he's going to be safe. Only just. Only just. He almost lost that probe, but he's okay right now. The Reaper is gone. It was murdered. Well, I don't think that this build will work so effectively here. Oh, never mind. Stargate is coming down for mana. Okay, he just wanted to delay it a little bit. Didn't really want to go for the quick Stargate. It is a really good map for it. It really is. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't. You might as well go Oracle, but this is decent for Balloon because he's got Concussive Shell. I almost... Either this is kind of against the Zealot Stalker Mothership Core Rush, or it's designed against the idea that your opponent might be going Blink Stalker, but that's clearly not the case, and Concussive Shell is not going to help here. And it's also going to delay Stim quite significantly here for Balloon. So this could be a problem. If this is an Oracle, which it probably will be, I mean, it's maybe a slightly later Oracle, but I think you'd still go Oracle here. Almost certainly. Yep, there we go. Oracle coming out for mana, and the scan lands just at the right time. Wow, money scan here from Balloon. So he sees what's coming in. Engineering Bay gets thrown down immediately. No Stim. The missile turrets do have a bit of an edge here, though, because this area is very exploitable for oracles, but it's also a good place to put your missile turrets that can kind of cover this whole area, so that can work. Balloon is going to go for a very aggressive push, and oh, so close! He almost had that Stalker. That would have been huge. Mana would have basically been locked into his base there. Nice little aggressive poke from Balloon. Almost got it, but not quite. He needed another Concussive Shell to hit to make that work. And now he's going to defend against the Oracle, which is inevitably coming his way. But he did scout it. There's only one Oracle, and we're seeing an immediate transition to Robo here from Mana. One has to wonder if he will go straight for Colossus. He is a very Colossus-heavy player. He may attempt Warp Prism. That could work too. He's got a Pylon there for warping. I mean, that's pretty standard. On this map, most Protoss tend to throw down a Pylon here just because you can. It's safe from the lava. It's quite hard to scout. Mana's going to go in, and he's not going to get shot at just yet. There's 4 Marines there. They could actually die, and Mana recognizes that possibility, but the missile turret will make sure that doesn't happen. And so far, Mana's done very little damage. Now he's able to pick off 1 SCV. And his Oracle's definitely not been worth it up to this point. Balloon scan really caught him off guard there. And Mana gets a few more Marines, which is good, and is going to have to back off now, and this is probably going to be a Revelation Oracle from here on in. Alright, Observer and straight into Robo Bay. Okay, so Colossus coming out here from Mana, as we expected to happen. Balloon's not really set up to deal with that yet. In fact, where's Balloon's factory? He doesn't have one. It's really, really late. So any possibility of getting a starport out here is going to be slow. It's going to be unlikely that he'll be able to build up enough units to fight a Colossus force head-on. But it really depends how long Mana really wants to delay the push. I think maybe you just go two Colossus and go here. You do have to be careful fighting up this ramp. If you get your timing wrong, of course, and your pushes at the wrong time, then you've got to deal with the possibility of the lava rising and killing you, but... Balloon is now kind of getting prepared. He's building his Marine count up quite nicely. Mana's floating a lot of resources. Like, it almost smells like he wants a third base here, but I think it's just for Colossus. There we go. Even then, he's still got a lot of resources. His gateway count is not high. He's actually only on 3, so he's going to throw down a Twilight Council instead. Just be... a little bit more pushy with those upgrades here. He needs to get the... Where's his extended thermal lance? He has the resources for it. He's got to be getting that soon. It's probably just because he was working on this. It could be one of those lanceless pushes. It's possible, considering he scouted 3 barracks. He might be saying, alright, I can actually go... Oh, there we go. Just a bit later than we expected there. Alright, well, the lava's going to come up again. Nothing will die, as you can see here. The Oracle comes in again, and I mean, he's getting a kill or 2 with it, but all it's kind of doing is being annoying here. But it is forcing a few stims out of Balloon, which is a little annoying when he doesn't have a starport. He finally has it. But bear in mind, there's 1 Colossus already on the field, and the starport's just finishing. And there's no medevacs yet, not even Vikings. Balloon does have a large ground army, but of course Marines don't generally do too well against Colossus, unless you get a really good engagement. Mana still with a small army of his own. He's actually going to put Blink in here as well. We are seeing more players go for Blink Colossus. It's pretty cool, because you can pick off the Vikings, especially if there's a lower Viking count early on. You pick off Medevacs, you pick off Vikings. Lovely play with the Oracle there. Surgical precision here from Mana. He delays 2 more barracks from going up. He gets another SCV on the way out. And the Oracle has now paid for itself. It took a while, but he was able to make that work. And Balloon didn't really throw down enough turrets. Now he's starting to put down safety turrets as he realizes, look, this base is big. Oracles are very good on this map, so you've got to watch out for that. You've got to be a bit more liberal with your turrets. More gateways coming in here, so Mana going to go all the way up to 6, and he is at 2 Colossus, and will most likely be looking for Stalkers here as well. Balloon's going to push out with no medevacs. They are on the way, though, so they will catch up, and there's 2 more on the way. Widow Mine's being added in, and another starport. Okay, I like this from Balloon. He needs this. If Mana does his standard thing of waiting forever, then it's possible that Balloon will be suited just fine to this, but I think Mana will probably push fairly soon. He's still on 2 bases and hasn't really shown any sign of wanting to take a third. What's with all this tech out of him, though? Like, he's building every possible piece of tech on these bases. He's even going for Templar Archives. He's still on 2 bases here. Mana is ready for the assault. Balloon immediately turns around, realizing, uh-oh. Yep. Well, he's got Colossus. He's ready to go. He can still drop, and it might help, but that's most of Balloon's army in those medevacs, so it's risky. When will Mana attack? Is he going to take his third now? Okay, right, so I keep forgetting. It's Mana we're talking about here. Of course he's not going to attack. He wants to try and take that base, but Balloon's already got a sentry here. By that, I mean a sentry marine, as opposed to an actual literal sentry. And that stops that from going down. So he's going to be forced to move his army out. This is a cool play. Mana's moving his entire army out. I don't like that. There's two medevacs waiting here. That would... I don't like that at all. This is a perfect opportunity for Balloon to go in. If Balloon realizes what's going on. Mana pulling out his entire army to his third base is frankly unnecessary in my opinion. Oracle is not going to die. It's a pain in the ass. I think Balloon missed an opportunity there. Maybe Balloon just didn't think that the whole army was there. There were still Blink Stalkers in the main, so I guess it was still kind of risky. But I think he could have maybe got something done there. Maybe not. Alright, Balloon's still on 2 bases. And not expanding. Mana floating all sorts of minerals and is going to be able to spend that quite quickly. He's going heavy upgrades. Balloon is 1-1. And we're going to see 2-2, I think, out of Mana before he even considers attacking. He's adding Charger into the mix. He's adding Psystorm into the mix. And he's just going for the, if I build every tech, then I counter everything idea. Which works surprisingly well as Protoss. Still this drop, just hanging around here, not doing anything. Balloon's almost looks like he's forgotten about it, but I don't think so. Fighting count's now really high. So 3 Colossus is not really going to do much. And I imagine that Mana's going to want to go for Templar now. Charger Archon is a possibility. Certainly more preferable to building more Colossus in this situation. With double starport, there's clearly enough units. Alright, Lava Surge is on the way. Drops coming in. And, I mean, it's not going to get much done, I don't think. The army should be able to come back quite easily without too much of a problem. This ran detection for some reason. Huh. Okay. There's the pickup. Ah, that is gonna hurt. Ouch, 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 ouch. 1 full medevac down. Not so good. Widow Mine out in the... there. Try again. Oh, Balloon. Balloon. Full SCV pull. He's going for it. And I don't know if that's going to work. It could. The Colossus could die very quickly. It is going to hit before +2 weapons, but not before +2 armor. It depends. It's a very powerful pull. Balloon is going all in on this. He has a big army. Army supply is in favor of Balloon, but not by much. There are storms available. The Colossus, 1 Colossus is going to die immediately. Storm goes down only on the front of the army here. The SCVs are actually caught at the back, though. They can't get across the bridge. So this is not brilliant here for Balloon. This is not an excellent fight, but all the Colossus are dead. So he might still have the power to push through this. Let's see if Mana can hold it. Another storm lands right in the center, but it only really hits Vikings and Marauders. The force fields keep the SCVs back here. Mana tries to push this back. He blinks on top of it. He believes he's got it. Is he right? He absolutely is. And now a fighting retreat here for Balloon with very little units left after a big SCV pull. Gets completely shut down with force fields and great storms. There's the blink. More units going down. Mana's going to take this to the ace match by the looks of it and just punishes Balloon for his audacity here in this matchup. There's the GG, and we have ourselves an ace match, ladies and gentlemen, between Liquid and mYinsanity. Well, that's typical Mana. The only player I know, the absolute only player I know that can win on his side of the map almost all the time. It happens. Alright, folks. We're going to give our team managers 5 minutes to decide their ace players. And then we'll see what occurs. The ace will be on Fallen Dreams. Can Team Liquid edge out a victory here? Or will NYI... Yes, I keep getting that right. I keep saying NYE. God damn it. NYI. Will they go 4-0? We'll find out. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the ace match, and not particularly unexpectedly, we have Jack G coming out for mYinsanity, and we have Snoot coming out for Team Liquid, so it looks like there will be no Koreans fielded whatsoever by the Team Liquid guys today. I think some of them might be on the way to DreamHack Bucharest right now. I know we just put Ryong on a flight, so it's entirely possible that Hero and Tasia are heading to DreamHack Bucharest or something along those lines, so that would mean that they are unavailable. That would make sense. Snoot's a strong ace, though. I don't really blame them for sending out Snoot, and I think it should be a good fight between Snoot and Jack G. I think that's fairly even. It's the kind of thing that could end up being absolutely awesome. This is the scoreline right now, folks. Jack G and Stardust put very early points on the board, but Rhett fought back against Zervas. Serral took it against TLO, and then Bunny and Snoot, then Mana, saved Team Liquid from obliteration at the hands of mYinsanity, and now, as a result, they've taken it all the way to the ace, and it's going to be on Fallen Dreams, a TVZ on Fallen Dreams. We've seen some amazing TVZ on this map so far, and nowhere near enough of it, so I'm happy to see a top-level, absolutely top-level one. We saw, I think, Dana vs. Apocalypse was the last one, which was pretty good, but I have a feeling this one's going to be a hell of a lot better. Okay, let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. The countdown has now begun, and this should be awesome. You know, I think this might be a really, really bad map for Swarm hosts. I was just thinking about this, and I was thinking, hang on a minute, with the bridges, wouldn't this be pretty terrible for Swarm hosts? It actually would be, because it's entirely possible that you spawn your locusts, and then they get stuck on the bridge. So, this might be a really bad Swarm host map. I don't know what Snoot will do. Of course, he can play more than one style. But, you know, he is a man that likes Swarm hosts. So, I don't blame him. They're good units. They're just horrible. Alright, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, to the southwest position. The last man standing for Team Liquid. He will be their ace today. Can he make it happen? Can he break mYinsanity's winning streak? He is Liquid Snoot. Versus his opponent to the northeast position.
Game paused.
Well, that's a great start. Okay. Never mind. I'll try and get Snoot to clear this up. How is getting lag on EU? I don't know. We're actually on the EU server, of course. Jack G and Snoot are both EU, so it's nice to have that. I've got to say, swapping between servers can be a pain in the ass. While we're waiting, I can remind you that MLG has released a new app for MLG TV, which means you can watch SHOUTCraft on your phone or tablet. It's available for Android as well as iOS, and it's really, really slick. So, you can download that for absolutely free. It's available on the App Store and on the Google Play Store. Just look for MLG.TV and you will find the MLG TV app. It's really good. It's very functional. Makes things just a little bit easier to watch. So, why not? Alright, so, if you've never seen Fallen Dreams, this is a map where the middle of the map actually retracts every couple of minutes. Well, it's actually less than that. It's every 45 seconds. The bridges will extend or retract. And as a result, if you're on the bridge when that happens, your units fall to their death in the acid lake below. What is more important about that is that it really messes with timings and reinforcements, because if you attack while the bridges are up... That's the wrong way around, isn't it? Yeah, if you attack while the bridges... Let's just say open and close. That's much, much easier. If you attack while the bridges are closed, and then while the bridges are open, you attempt to bring in reinforcements, you actually have to go around the long way, which can be very problematic. Very difficult to bring in reinforcements. It does mean that Lings are very good on this map because you've got this path around here that you can take all the way there. Which will work, but of course, unless you use fast units, it's not particularly good. So, you generally don't want to use slow units on this map when you're attacking right through the center because you can end up losing them or getting them trapped, unable to retreat. So that can be a real problem. We've seen quite a few teams just send out Protoss to the map to bypass it, or go for Zerg versus Zerg on this map, which works pretty well too. Simply because, again, Ling heavy. It's quite similar to New Pompeii in that respect, that you really want to be able to use fast units because they negate some of the disadvantages a map might give you. It's one way to get around obstacles, just don't do anything with them. Okay, Reaper on the way. Not a brilliant Reaper map, as you can see. There's actually not that many places to jump in and jump out. You got this kind of area right here, and you can at least kind of jump around that, but it's not a brilliant Reaper map. It's not that great. Yeah, but what I'd call it like a semi-pocket expansion. This is another map in the map pool that actually has a high ground expansion, but in this case, it actually has rocks towards the back here. So actually attacking this is pretty difficult. Spreading creep is really, really easy to this natural. And defending it, again, very easy, because you can just wall off this area here with evolution chambers, and you're pretty much safe from Hellion run-bys. But these rocks at the back do leave a certain vulnerability open, so this will not stay like that forever. It's kind of like the third base on that old map Terminus, if you remember that. That was a pretty cool map. And as a result, that was pretty fine to take early on, but later, once the rocks came down, it became a nightmare to defend. Okay, Reaper makes its way in it, and we'll get to the natural. It's not going to really see anything other than the fact that the natural is down. There's a couple of lings with the queen on the way, so once the queen's up, that should fend off the Reaper quite nicely. I don't expect the Reaper to do too much damage. Maybe it gets a ling at most. Snoot's control looking good, though, so it looks like he has his lag problems all sorted out. Jack G getting a couple of little nibbles on the legs there. Not what you want. And the Reaper will now be chased away by the queen. He really wants a ling out of this. It's like, I just give me a drone or a ling, just anything, and I'll be happy with that. Well, that's thankfully not going to happen. I never noticed that before. A little game heart border in the side there. You know, this kind of design is interesting. I think you could do some really cool sponsor advertisement using this. Huh. Something to consider in future. Alright, well, Jack G is going to go for the third command center. Nice and greedy. He thinks he's safe, and he's probably right. I mean, is this bustable? Yes. Without a significant cost to Snoot? No. But Snoot's going for 12 more lings. Snoot, what are you up to? That's a lot of lings. It's because Jack G, of course, has 3 Reapers, so he doesn't need to shut that down. Now the queen is up. Jack G with that. He loves his Reapers, man, I tell you. And it might help, but I think some Reapers are going to die here. Yep, one down, and of course speed is going to drive away the other 2. Significant damage being dealt to the... Whoa! Jack G, what are you doing? Oh, man. Yeah, these Reapers are dead. Shut down. Snoot, nicely done. And now he still has a decent amount of lings on the map, 12. So Hellions are going to struggle here unless Jack G gets a lot of them out. So really good start here for Snoot, gotta say. Double Evolution Chamber. No, that's Engineering Bay, not Evolution Chamber. Pretty much do the same thing, though. It's fine. Colossus Den. Engineering Bay for Jack G, so really straight up powerhouse economy build out of him. He wants the upgrades, and he wants it all. He absolutely wants it all. But he sacrifices his ability to apply early pressure now that his Reapers are down. He has ceded map control to his opponent. Snoot's just happy to open that up. He wants to take a third base. He feels this is the best place to do it. He wants to open up the rocks to allow creep spread and access to happen. And we've got a game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Hellions on the way against 12 speedlings. 4 Hellions will generally not do too well unless they get some very good initial shots. We'll see how they go. They're actually going to avoid each other. Well, this wall off is complete, so these lings are not going to get much done. The Hellions will probably come back. It's going to be 6 Hellions, so I'm a bit worried for Snoot here. If the Hellions pop out in the wrong place, which they might pop out in front. Nope. One popped out at the back. Nice. So, that's fine. Sometimes that can happen, but yeah, he's okay. And Snoot, I think he's looking around and saying, hang on a minute, there's no way you've only got 2 Hellions. He splits off a couple. He tries to get a surround on these Hellions. He doesn't quite get it. And, oh, he gets one. Can he get another? He's looking for it, but the other Hellions are coming in for reinforcements now, so Snoot's going to have to back off with the remaining lings. Traded like 6 or 7 lings for one. He does see the third base go down, so that's okay, but Jack G has Hellion presence on the map now, so that is always going to be a constant threat, especially if Snoot hasn't walled off here, which he hasn't. Plus, he's opened up this back area too, so unless he decides to wall off both, he's vulnerable to Hellion pressure, and more lings getting taken down here. Roaches and Banelings being added on here for Snoot, however. And I'm not seeing a sign of a lair. Roach Bane. He might. He very well might. It can work. Alright. Well, Jack G doesn't really have much of a retreat path now. Oh, drone transfer. Jack G catches him and gets a good shot off. He's going to get 4. He's going to get 5. Not bad. And it looks like he's going to get out there without losing a Hellion, so that works pretty well. Still no sign of lair. Snoot has definitely got the gas for it. Does he want to go lair here, or does he actually want to go hatch tech? Maybe he does. There's 5 more barracks being added on, though. I don't know. I don't think Roach Bane would be enough here. No, he's got to go lair. He's losing a lot of lings here as well. Jack G's Hellion control, absolutely superb as always. Plenty of queens to block that off, though, so the Hellions will be shut down, but they've done damage. 6 workers killed in total. Maybe not as much as you'd want for that, but he's lost, what, 3 Hellions at most, so it's not really a big deal. Armory's on the way. Double upgrades here for Jack G. Lair timed out pretty much with the 1-1, so he's going to go into the 2-2 immediately. And 4 more gas being added on here. So, yeah, we'll probably just see Ling Bane Muta. Which, I mean, Mutas are almost king on this map. But you do have to watch out. Ideally, of course, you want to be able to fight with everything. There's a problem with that. This map has bridges. So what can happen is that your ground forces can get separated from your air forces. And if you're not cognizant of that, you can lose a lot. And you can take a really bad fight. So he needs to be careful. Very, very careful. Armory's on the way up, so Jack G will begin his 2-2 pretty much immediately. Snoot has enough for his 2-2 as well, and begins that and Baneling speed. I would expect to see a Spire following this up. If he actually goes 2-2 Roach Bane, I'd be surprised. And there's the Spire. Okay, so far so standard. And Jack G will play standard as well. So it's going to be Bio versus Ling, Bane, and Muta. Another reactor coming down, so it looks like Jack G will want to start adding Widow Mines in. Would make sense. And Jack G's pretty much gotten away with it. He got his third command center up really early. He is a powerhouse in terms of his economy. He's actually ahead of the Zerg player, which should never happen at this stage. I mean, it's not like Jack G did a huge amount of damage either. But he is ahead. And he's going to be able to really power forward with his economy here. It's going to be potent, to say the least. And that's going to mean Jack G macro, which is huge. I mean, that's a lot of units. He does need to be careful, of course, with his rallying. It is entirely possible that he will lose units on the bridge. We will try and keep an eye out for that. It's one thing you've always got to be aware of. Oh! That Marine gets lucky. Almost went off into the drink. That would be unfortunate. We need a counter for this map as to how many units die on the bridges. Jack G's now moved across the map with his reinforcements. He is moving with his medevacs here as well, so he has some evacuation potential, but he wants to try and pressure the fourth base. There's a lot of Lings on the way, though, and there's plenty of Banelings, and Baneling speed is going to be done, so I don't see Jack G getting too much accomplished here. As long as he gets out without losing too much. Then, whoa! Out of nowhere! Lings take out a Hellion. Now here's the push from Jack G. There are Banelings on the way. Mutas are not done yet, but there's still a lot of Ling Bane. 60 Zerglings and 16 Banelings. I think Jack G needs to leave now. The surround comes in from the side, though. Snoot! Snoot! He doesn't want him to leave! Smash! The bulldozer comes in. Snoot with the flank catches Jack G out. And Jack G evacuates with what he can, which is barely half of his Marine count. And Snoot, he smells blood. He realizes that's where a lot of the army is. Can he break through? I don't think so. He shouldn't overcommit here. Jack G is just macroing like a beast here. It is very risky to go out here. He's just playing pure Ling Bane like that. There's no mutas yet. He could build 15 right about now, though. 15 Mutalisks right now would be incredible. He is building Zerg Flyer Attack. He's just built no Mutalisks. So now I think he's safe enough to justify building those mutas. It's going to be 16 plus 1 mutas. It's going to be pretty crazy. There we go. Now he's building them. So they should be pretty much done by the time this attack hits. Just going to give him potential. Jack G has 6 medevacs. He is going for 3-3 here. And this is going to, this is the problem, especially when you're up against a 3 command center Terran that went double engineering bay very early on. You get this point in the game where it's like, oh, I can't really go Hive, but he's 3-3 now, and this sucks. And Snook's going to lose 2 queens, which also kind of sucks. Snook's very queen heavy as usual. Trying to detonate some Widow Mines, but Jack G's really sneaky and very, very clever, so he decides to stop that from happening. Good free split here from Jack G. That is a waste of Banelings, not what you want to spend him on. Snoot needs to get his Mutalist together. And be ready for that. Drops come in the back of the base right now, which is denying a lot of mining. Lings are trying to move in to engage, but the big push coming in here. Jack G kind of letting himself go a little bit there. Losing quite a lot of units, but he did have a lot of mutas towards the front. A lot of marauders towards the front. This drop is eventually getting cleaned up, but not without significant damage being done. Jack G continues to push forward, and Snoot is taking significant losses. Jack G's death push never ends. Once he begins, that train ain't stopping, and Jack G is powering through. Takes the 4th base out. Does significant economic damage. Now the Lings come in. The Widow Mines do not... Oh, that one was a big hit. Good lord, that is not what you wanted. More Widow Mines being brought in here. They have the drilling claws. You don't want the hit to happen. The Banelings get focused down, so I guess that doesn't matter either. Snoot's in a bad way right now. He has taken a significant amount of damage. 21 workers killed here. He lost a base. Jack G has only lost 69 units in total, which consist of... mostly Marines, as you can see. He hasn't lost anything of real value. 169 Lings killed, 15 Banelings. He's trying to get the defense up here, but with his Widow Mines, it's so risky to do. Banelings now morphing in, but he realizes he's got to go for it. Brings in the mines. The free split from Jack G is just absolutely beautiful. He takes barely any damage whatsoever. Banelings have now been morphed in. They're going to charge in. This is going to be hugely inefficient right here. Assuming it does anything, Jack G God splits right here. The Mutalist coming in, doing more damage. They're trying to push this back, but Jack G is rallying across the map in a big way here, and he does not want to stop. 3rd base now under grave threat. Most likely going to go down. He is bringing in the Mutas from behind with +1. He brings the drones off the line. Good Baneling hit. Will this be enough to break the attack of Jack G? It looks like it might be. Huge Widow Mine hit to the center of the Mutalisk flock, but it looks like the push has been stopped for now, and he may very well get a couple more Mutas out of this. But no, he turns around. Jack G tries to stim into the Mutas. He doesn't get it. Loses a medevac for his trouble. And Snoop finally stabilizes, but he lost so much from that. 202 Zerglings down, 29 drones killed as well. Jack G's on 80 SCVs. He's got a powerhouse economy. He's taking a 4th base right here. This 4th will not live. Jack G has no intention of letting it happen. 3-3 is done here. Snoot is going to be struggling to get these good fights. There aren't that many mines, but there is a Thor right here. The Baneling's coming in. They can't really hit what they need to. The Thor is in the way. The Mutants dive right on top of 3-3 Marines. Again, a brilliant fight for Jack G. mYinsanity is looking to take 4-0 in the Clan Wars series again. They had to struggle to get there. You know, they took it to the ace match, but they are looking to go 4-0 in the entire Clan War right here, and they have what they need to make it happen. Jack G is a powerhouse. Jack G does not stop. He got away with 3 command centers early, and now he's making it work. His economy is unstoppable. This push will never end. The drones come off the line. The mutants are going to die by the looks of it, and even if this wave dies, the next one comes in. GG. Team Liquid falls, and mYinsanity takes their 4th win in the Clan Wars out of 4. Who can stop them? Team Liquid got very close, but not quite close enough. God, who on earth can stop mYinsanity? Well, the Swiss are banking an awful lot of money from this tournament, I've got to say. 4 wins already against some top teams. Team Liquid, could they have turned that around? Absolutely. But again, you know, they played a solid lineup, but without their 2 big superstars. They didn't play Tasia, they didn't play Hero, and I mean, it was really the full lineup from mYi coming out right there. They had so much. You feel Balloon, Jack G, and Stardust, and then you've got all your good foreigners as well. You got a good shot. Team Liquid put up a good fight, considering they didn't have the 2-star players, but it wasn't quite enough, and Jack G steamrolls Snoot in the final game and takes the win. Well, mYi 4-0 throughout the entire Clan War. They have now beaten Axiom, IVD, Clan Who, and Team Liquid. Really, really impressive. I wouldn't mess with mYinsanity under any circumstances. These guys know exactly what they're doing. And no doubt they will be looking forward to yet more Clan Wars in the next month. This is them pretty much done for this series of Clan Wars, of course. We tend to try and field the teams twice a month at most. So, mYinsanity, we're actually going to have 3 Clan Wars, but we had to cancel one towards the start of the month, unfortunately. But they do take the win against Team Liquid and walk home again with a lion's share of a $500 prize. Congratulations to them. Alright, what's coming up, folks? We do have more Clan Wars over the next few days that I would strongly recommend that you tune into, because they are all going to be pretty great. I'm looking forward to casting all of them. We're going to have a really big weekend here for Clan Wars. We've got Clan Who. They'll be facing off against MVP. Will the Aussies be able to beat the Koreans? Then Clan Who will take on IVD the day after. Once again, the Aussies get to prove themselves against certainly one of the weaker teams in the league, but we'll see what they can do. And then, Startail versus Complexity, which I'm very much looking forward to. We should have the lineup for that very shortly. And then Startail versus MVP the day afterwards. That's been a reschedule from earlier in the month. That'll probably wrap up the Clan Wars for this month. We may try and squeeze in another one if we can. But congratulations once again to mYinsanity, who take the victory for the 4th time in a row. Can they be stopped? I guess we'll find out in May here on Clan Wars. If you missed anything, the VOD will be available over at youtube.com/TotalBiscuit, and of course we'll be doing reruns on MLG.TV straight after this broadcast. My name has been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for your support. Remember to download the MLG TV on your smartphone or tablet device on the Google Play Store and iOS for nice and easy viewing here for future SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. Congratulations to mYinsanity. Thanks to MLG TV for the sponsorship of this event, and I'll see you next time.